Giants fans, what is going on? You are listening to another episode of the New York Giants Rush Hour podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Nikki.
Yes.
Welcome on. Here we are.
Here we are, another Monday. Before I start with the misery, I just want to let everybody know real quick that Rush Hour is brought to you by Dr. Cation in Long Island, the premier plastic surgeon. No, I don't get plastic surgery. However, I make no secret about it that I do get Botox and lip filler. And so he is offering 30% off all injections. So I know our audience is mostly males, but if you have got wives, fiancés, girlfriends, moms, sisters, whatever, you can pop over there and get 30% off with code Nikki. So that is that.
Awesome deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's expensive, so it's a great deal.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't feel so good today. Do you?
So I had to have a little revelation there last night.
Yeah.
I'm very emotional on Twitter during Giants games. It's very tough to keep myself in line. You know, it's always super therapeutic when this all goes wrong. I just whip out YouTube highlights of Rand Jacobs from 2008 to 2009, and I just go right back to the days. And after that, I'm like, it's all good. I can breathe. I'm not happy, of course, with the outcome, but I can breathe.
Yeah, I like to rewatch the helmet catch or the Mario Manningham catch, or Eli being an escape artist and lift myself up, like Manning lobs at Burris. It just helps me, cope, I guess. And drinking
and alcohol. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend you drink 7 shots.
If you're watching the Giants, yes.
Real quick shout out to the viewers. We got Josh in here. Josh, thank you for coming on by. Real Cold G, it's always a blessing to have you up in here. And Tudo, you never stop eat, man. I know it is very, very late or early in Italy right now. Thank you for popping in, guys.
You guys are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't feel so great. I figured that it was going to be a blowout, kind of. I thought, but I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. I knew it could be, but it got bad really quick.
Yeah, it did. And it's just that, the problem is we expect a blowout, but we can still get, we can't control ourselves from being mad at the mistakes. Right. What was your reaction to the punt?
So I would like to kick Gillian back to Scotland. I will drop kick him back to Scotland. Here's the thing, honestly, and let's be real. And I put this on Twitter yesterday, and of course, everybody's got a friggin' opinion, which is fine. But there's just no talent. There's not a lot of talent. You look at the Eagles, and then you look at the Giants, and the talent is just miles apart. Miles apart. I'm sorry. There's just not a lot of talent on this Giants team.
What units, because I come into the season thinking secondary is the biggest issue, unquestionably. I thought a lot more games this year would be like yesterday. But I feel like I have to rethink about the pecking order of needs right now. I mean, what would you put the pecking order of Giants needs at after watching yesterday's game and including the entire 2022 season?
I mean, I maintain it for the entire season. It's the wide receiver position for me. I mean, my God, what are we doing? It just, you look at the Eagles, it's like they got Devonta Smith, they got AJ Brown. It's just of course, Jalen Hurts is, listen, I know Giants fans don't want to hear this, but I think we're looking at the MVP in Hurts this year. So, I think Daniel Jones is doing what he can with what he has, and it's not much. Hodgins, okay, having a nice game. Slayton here and there, but what else? Who else is there?
Do you feel like it's challenging because there's been a lot of debate about Jones back and forth on Twitter today, and it gets a little frustrating. I don't know how I feel about him because I'm still stuck in a point where I feel like I can't get a good evaluation of him. I don't, he doesn't have surrounded cast. We've never really gotten a chance to see him completely ball out.
I know. And that's why I struggle with evaluating him because, he's been here, what, 4 years? So,
Yeah,
injured a couple of seasons, right? Couldn't get a full season out of him. And then, didn't have the greatest offensive line and then doesn't have a lot of talent around him. So, it's frustrating and it's really hard to say, oh, he's the guy or he's not the guy. So,
right.
listen, of all things that went wrong yesterday, Daniel Jones was last on my list.
Yeah, I'd have to think about, again, the order of, there's so many players on the team that are starting and bringing us down. And I'll start with one unit in particular, interior offensive line. I mean, what was your reaction to that?
Oh God, Jesus
Just,
God.
yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
And it's never like, when we have offensive linemen that aren't good, we don't, they're never just guys that like can at least hold down the fort. They give up a sack here and there. It's like, we know we got to move on. It's always like the worst starting guard or center in the league. We always like somehow get stuck in this situation.
Always. I don't know it, and I had tweeted out yesterday that because I saw some people say Giants fans shouldn't be frustrated. Like it's a rebuild. You shouldn't have expected to even have 7 wins. I get all of that. My frustration stems from I feel like I am watching the same thing over and over and over again for 10 years in a row now.
Right. And we thought, at least for a split second, when we were 7-2,
yeah,
that things were at least looking up. But it does now. There are injuries. A lot of guys are back, and they still got to get in place. But I think that's been one of my frustrating things. I mean, I love that they started 7-2, and people are questioning why I'm frustrated since we said 7 wins would be okay. It would really suck to look back if we started 7-2 and ended 7-9-1. That would be pretty disappointing. If we squeak out a couple more games here, I'd be very happy with the season. If we could pull out Washington, pull out the Colts, that'd be incredible.
All right, let's talk about Washington real quick.
For sure.
So now we have this massive freaking game on prime time.
Yes.
God, this Detroit game is going to bite them in the ass because they should have beat Detroit, and now look where we are. And honestly, you should have closed it out against the freaking Commanders. And now look, you knew you didn't have a shot in hell yesterday against the Eagles, so now you have to play on Sunday night against the Commanders, and this is a must-win.
Right. Yep. This is, again, it kind of goes back to the Commanders game. If we had that win, that would have been super helpful, right? And this is a very tough circumstance. And I may have said it last week where, the biggest game, if the Giants had won against the Eagles, we would have said that's the biggest game. But this going into Washington means more than any other game the Giants have played in since the Cowboys-Giants game in 2016. I firmly believe that.
This is huge. And the Giants do not play great on prime time. So let's shout out to Josh. Thanks for hanging with us. I did Josh's show last week. I forget the day. I did so many shows. I forget the day. That's not good. But Josh has a great show, and happy to see him in here. Yeah. So, but how do you feel about Washington? Do you need a few more days? Are you feeling comfortable, or are you just still upset about yesterday?
Well, I think, when they played Washington, they played with a decent attack. All they have to do is they have to seal off those kinds of victories, and they have to continue to try to find ways to keep the ball progressing on offense. I don't think Washington's a very formidable home field advantage. I don't really think it's outside the Giants' contention to win that game. We're 4-point underdogs, and that makes sense. But what we obviously hope for is that the Giants are super hungry to win this game. Dable and the other leaders on this team get these guys prepared to play, and they go out there and execute. And that's all I'm hoping for. I mean, it would be an excellent win for us.
Oh my God. It would be a massive win for us that we absolutely need. And I think this team needs it. Has not been a great 4 weeks by any means. So I feel like that will absolutely raise morale a little bit. All right, let's keep it in the NFC East. Friggin' Houston, you had one job. You just you couldn't close it out against the goddamn Cowboys. How great would that have been? I don't think I ever rooted so hard for the Houston Texans in my life.
I know. And they, I mean, I give Houston a lot of credit. I can't believe they played them that tightly. And maybe if they played them that tightly, why are we getting spanked by the Eagles right now? I mean, come on.
I know. What? It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So I hate when I have to depend on other teams. Like, you remember the Minnesota year when the Eagles were going to go to the Super Bowl? What year was that? And it was Bring It Home. That was like the whole
2017.
Because I was just like, the Eagles cannot go to the Super Bowl. Like this cannot happen. And so you depend on Minnesota,
Depend on New England.
I know. And then, of course, Nick Foles has to go beat the Patriots. And then everybody wants to ding Eli Manning. And it's just like,
no.
Come on.
Oh, that was such a tough year. And that was the start of our troubles, too. 2017 was pivotal. Real quick, Jay Ferries, great channel, guys. Appreciate the show here in California. Great. We love having you as a viewer, man. And, we appreciate everybody that comes in. We know we got Tudo in Italy.
Yeah.
Barbados. I don't think he's in here tonight. But, appreciate everybody who tunes in to New York Giants Rush. We really do.
I want to go to Mark's house.
I do, too. Mark has a nice beachfront house, and he's an architect. So you know that he designed his house to perfection. We might have to do a Giants spring break special. We might just do the draft live from Mark's house.
From Barbados? Yeah, I am so down for it. In fact, we should go now and, scope it out. Maybe just get everything set. Let's tell Craig that this is on him. And
that's right.
We'll go now.
Steal Craig's credit card and we'll expense it.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
Well, since we have everybody from California watching, should we talk about the 49ers and the Chargers?
Let's talk about it.
Hey, how about Purdy? I mean, where did this kid come from?
Out of nowhere. It's been super impressive.
What the hell? Listen, I know San Fran has an awesome defense and they have a fantastic offensive line. I really feel like San Fran has had a great offensive line since I don't know, 1985, probably since I was 2 years old or something. Always. And I just watch and I'm like, oh my God, what's that like? What's it like? But shout out to Purdy. He had a hell of a game. Are we looking at 49ers Eagles? Is that the NFC Championship game?
I was going to ask you the same thing. I think that is the championship game, but who wins that one?
I feel like the 49ers, because that defense is serious.
That's what I was thinking, too. It might be the rude awakening that the Eagles kind of need because they have had the benefit of a relatively easy schedule. And they're playing good teams. They played Minnesota and they played Dallas, but they're very – I guess Dallas, you could argue is defense. But, I think offense when I think Minnesota and Dallas, right? And so if they're playing a defense, it's a strong defense. It's going to be much, much more challenging.
Did you see that Tyreek Hill fumble and pick up?
Yeah.
And run it? So I'm pissed because if you guys don't know, I play in this league called The Trenches. I'm a contestant on the show and I have a teammate, my friend Gladys. And it's not like your typical fantasy football league. They throw all types of things at you. 1 week, we all had to drop our lineups and just go on waiver wires and it's hope for the best. Anyway, so we win $5,000 at the end of it. So we got to double a player this week, right? And we're we have Tyreek Hill. So we're going to double Tyreek Hill. No, that doesn't count because it's not rushing and it's not receiving. And I could have, I almost threw my phone right across the room. I couldn't believe the play. And then I was like, oh my God, this is great. Oh shit. It's not worth anything.
And how'd you do in fantasy overall this week, Nikki?
I did pretty good. Real Deal League, which is our podcast league. I scratch and claw my way back. You can call me the comeback kid. I was not supposed to make the playoffs. Comeback queen. There you go. But, yes, I made the playoffs, and here I am. You know what? I came in second last year, and I hope to take them down this year too.
Congrats, Nikki. Take them down. We are all rooting for you. What would you argue was obviously that was the most frustrating. What was your biggest? What was the best move? Did you have any situation this week where you had to put somebody from the bench, elevate them because you had a feeling, or did that not happen?
Oh wait, yes. Who did I put in, and then they got hurt right away? Jesus. Oh my God. I can't remember. This doesn't make for a good show. Yes, but I put somebody in, I forget who it was. And they were like, oh, they're not coming back for the rest of the game. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This was I'll look. What about you? Let's be professional. We'll buy time.
Out of 3, I won two of my leagues. And I'm in looks like I'm clear to make the playoffs. So it looks like that's not going to be an issue. My coworker in one of my leagues really did one of the smartest things I've ever seen done before. my kicker was not set in the lineup, and I already made a mistake a couple weeks ago, but I didn't put the kicker in because the Yahoo application sucks. It's very hard to tell, who's starting where you're moving your players. It is terrible. Mm-hmm. And I did make a mistake by benching my kicker, who's the Seattle kicker. Oh. So I realized this yesterday, last night, and I'm like, okay, let me just pick up the Monday night kicker. He's gone. No, all the kickers were taken tonight because my coworker knew that I didn't start a kicker. I'm 2 points away from beating him. He goes in and he brings both kickers to his roster for the Monday night game, and I couldn't pick one up.
Oh my God! Oh no!
So that was genius. That was one of the smartest moves I had ever seen done, and I kind of want to kill him. I don't know.
Kind of want to kill him.
Kind of. For HR purposes, I can't.
Tyler Boyd. That's what it was. He was questionable, and he was in. I got off channel side bets. I was like, oh, perfect. Let me pop him in. And then, here we go. Of course, he's out. Fabian Moreau getting me 0 points. So I hate you this week. Like, really?
Ew.
Like Etienne, 3.2 points. I don't know what was going on in this one league. That was not great. Not great for me. But you know what? The league that counts made the playoffs. And that's all that really matters. Rio's in the house. Is he coming to give us a hard time about the Commanders?
About that ridiculous coworker story I just said. Just swipe the playoffs in that league out from under me.
Yeah. Oh, so how many leagues? 3?
3.
Playoffs for any of them?
Playoffs and 2.
Okay.
Hopefully I win a little bit of bread in them. Well, let me ask you this, Nikki. What's the jackpot in your leagues?
This one is the $5,000 one.
This is 5,000.
5,000.
What would you do with $5,000?
Well, actually, since I have a teammate, I have to split it, so it'd be like 2,500. What would I do with $2,500? I don't know. There's some nice shoes that I want.
Some nice shoes. So, what would be some good Nikki shoes? Would it be good if they had like big New York Giants Nike shoes?
Maybe. I mean, I don't really wear a ton of sneakers because I'm short. Oh, you've met me in person. I'm short. You guys are all tall, so I'm short. I try to wear heels a lot. There's some nice shoes that I think I'd probably go and get. What would you do at 2,500? Or maybe I just take off to Barbados. Actually, go see Mark.
Yeah, $2,500. That would definitely cover the flights. We already know Mark down there. We got Mark.
Right. We don't have to pay for a hotel, right?
Exactly. No, we got Mark's Airbnb that he already agreed to open up to us, from what I understand.
Yes, Rio. I am short. I'm like 5'3". Anyone who's met me in person can confirm.
I can confirm.
Can confirm. Short.
No hard time this week. You guys. Oh, yeah, Rio. I'm sorry. You guys are the Washington Commanders. Your team will fail you this week, as they always do.
Oh man. I mean,
we'll get into that. I say we save that one for the end. It's always the most fun to talk about, like, our predictions for that game.
Yeah, no, we're going to save that one for the end. So what else from yesterday? Anything else stick out to you? Or were you just like crying in your beer watching the Giants?
I didn't drink yesterday, so I was just crying in my Diet Coke. That was, the choice on the Sunday. And that was pretty much it. Just trying to mentally recover from that just awful loss.
Yeah. It was not great. What happened with the Ravens? I believe, isn't their backup out now as well?
Yeah, they got I believe they have the third string in now, right?
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on his name, but from what I heard, he didn't have a bad game.
Yeah. No, he didn't have a bad game, but I'm just wondering going forward, because you see Cincinnati's kind of rolling. They're getting hot. I mean, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. So it's just like unfortunate timing for the Ravens to lose both their quarterbacks.
Only got knocked out.
Yeah.
So, Nikki, look, we got a guest up in the chat right now. I said we bring him on in. We got CDP host.
Oh, there's Chris.
Chris, what's going on, man?
Good. Hi. I just finished. Hey, how are you? I just finished my podcast show tonight, talking some baseball. So now I'm Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame guy. We have a long history of baseball here in Canada, and now I get to talk football with you guys.
Yes, awesome. So, Chris, I did Chris's show on Friday. Let me just let everybody know that Chris is an Eagles fan.
Don't boo me. Don't boo me.
No, we're nice. We're nice.
I'm like, Mike actually is what we were going to do. Chris,
we're just mute you.
You have that Canadian accent. You could have chosen any team. Why the hell did you choose the Eagles?
The Eagles? Okay. It's because of Vince Papale. He was a bartender that grew up in Philadelphia in the 70s. They made a movie about him called Invincible.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of the reasons I became a fan. And I love the old Veteran Stadium. I liked Wilbert Montgomery, Harold Carmichael, Reggie White, the passion of the fans. Maybe some of them go too overboard, but Philadelphia is a great sports city, and the Eagles just have a great tradition. It's just like with your New York Giants. It's a tradition.
Well, thank you for those respectful, flattering comments after yesterday. We just got absolutely ripped to shreds. We really do appreciate that. But we were talking earlier, Nikki and I got a question for you. Of every NFC team right now, who do you fear the most for the Eagles going forward, trying to make the Super Bowl?
From the NFC?
From the NFC.
Well, if they played the Niners, I would fear them because the Niners have a very good defense. But how many more injuries can they keep taking and sustaining? Like, they just lost Deebo Samuel, their best receiver now, for 4 to 6 weeks. But the Niners right now are a team that I'd be worried to play against because of their great defense, and they seem to be playing as a team. Minnesota, not so much. Dallas, as much as I hate Dallas, they do have a very good team, and I think they're a contender as well. Another team I'm going to talk about, and you guys are going to laugh, the Eagles already beat them this year earlier in the season, but I'm going to tell you this, right now the Detroit Lions are playing good football, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won 9 or 10 games this year and made the playoffs. Dan Campbell has that team playing really good football right now, and with their schedule the last 4 games, I think the Lions might be able to sneak in there. But right now, I would say in the NFC, San Francisco, just the way they're playing defensively.
Wow. Nikki, do you think the Lions are legit? Because there was an argument at work about this one today.
Was there? Listen, I hope they're not, because I have a bet on my other show. Like, they can't make the playoffs, because my co-host said in like August that they'd make the playoffs, and I laughed at him, and I guess karma's coming my way. But I don't know. It's hard to argue that they're not legit, but then like they could just have a complete friggin' meltdown. You know where they're legit? Covering, because I take them every week in betting, and they cover like a champ. Thank you very much, Detroit Lions.
So take the Lions. That's what we're getting out of this.
Jared Goff is playing really good football. He's playing as good as he ever has, even with when he played for the Rams. So I've seen enough Lions games here because I live near Detroit, maybe 3 hours, but I get a lot of Lion games here, and they have made improvements. Obviously, they're not a contender to win the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, but I think they have an outside chance of winning 9 games and maybe even getting a wild card spot.
They have a shot. They definitely have a shot. I tell you what, I actually like the Lions, and someone brought it up. Sully brought it up. I mean, the Lions loss that we had is actually looking a lot better now, just because they do have an explosive offense. I wish we showed up for the game. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it is a much better win. Chris, where in Canada are you? Hamilton? Are you in London or?
Not far from London or Hamilton. I'm a city called Guelph, Ontario, which is called Royal City, and it's about 150,000 people. It's about 40 minutes from Hamilton and an hour from London and 2 hours from Buffalo. So I'm not that far from the American border and stuff like that as well.
No, only reason I asked is because at Michigan State, the fun thing to do at Michigan State was because, 21, you can't drink in America. You 19. Can drink in Canada.
19.
So we all went over to Windsor at Caesars, and that was a really fun place to be. That was a blast because you couldn't do it in Detroit.
Definitely. You're Michigan State. Oh, you're really going to hate me now. I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan. Go Blue.
God.
You're a Michigan Wolverines fan and you're an Eagles fan?
Wow.
I've been spoiled this year.
What is going on here? Chris, you didn't tell me that.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for stopping by
Thanks for coming by. It's been real.
I was just saying, Chris, the worst thing that could possibly happen this year is the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and Michigan winning the national title. That might, I mean, nobody should care that much about sports, but that might cause me to jump off the bridge.
Well, Michigan still has to take care of Texas Christian University, and then
that'll happen. That's not a problem. The problem obviously is Georgia. They're playing a Georgia team that they might be in a little bit of a hangover from last year. They already won their championship. I don't think there's been consecutive championships in a long time.
It's true, but in football, you know this as well as I do. Even in Canadian football, American football, in any given day, anybody can be beaten.
That's true. That's
I've seen it.
absolutely true.
And look at the Giants, 2007. I was at a bar here and nobody gave them a chance to beat the Patriots. And guess what? They did.
Yeah.
Twice.
Twice.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. You know, I'll get the camera right. Maybe on my 5th year of podcasting. Twice. It's just like a glorious moment. But you know what I learned from this conversation? That you probably can't come on Rush Hour anymore. No, I'm just kidding. That I need to brush up on my geography. I did not know there was a city called London in Canada.
London, Ontario. Yeah, it's about 450,000 people.
All right.
The home to the London Knights, Ontario Hockey League team, which is the feeder league for the NHL. And a lot of NHL stars have played for the London Knights and stuff like that. And if you guys ever want to know about the Canadian Football League and what's going on up here with 3-down football, feel free to bring me back on as well. I love the CFL.
Argonauts, is that your team?
Toronto Argonauts, 18-time Grey Cup champions, the oldest professional football team, going back to 1873 with the same name.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I always thought their uniforms were sick. I did like
double blue. I do like blue. I'm not saying I like giant blue, but I like.
I was going to say you can always come over to the right side of the track.
You can do that. You know, you don't have to stay bleeding green.
Chris, we are going to have to we're going to move on here. We do want to say thank you so much for stopping by. Congrats to having 2 very successful teams that you picked out of the hat. I'm not jealous of you. I'm not jealous at all. That's a lie. I'm really jealous of that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of pissed, actually.
Yeah. Like, how does that happen? You know, but we are educating you guys on this show. I think we talked about, so we have Canadian football. We talked about soccer last week. You know what? We'll see what every week brings us. I have no idea.
Totally. It's always interesting. You know, Canada football, it's always, I mean, sometimes it's on. It's like, I want to watch it for a little bit.
I've never watched Canadian football.
Which we asked him, what's the salary range of Canadian football? Like, if you don't make the NFL, is Canadian football still worth it?
I don't know. Is it?
I guess it depends. Let me check real quick.
All right,
I should, as a content creator, know these stats off the top of my head. But let's see. Canada.
No, we can't possibly know all these stats off the top of our head. I mean, we don't have producers. Just, you know.
Here we go. Between $60,000 and $100,000.
That's it?
That's the Canadian Football League range. Yep.
No.
That's brain scrambling. You could make an argument that, okay, that's actually, I mean, look, depending on what they would do otherwise, that could be a pretty good gig to get, right after college, obviously. But then, you gotta factor in some of those concerns you might have with possible head injuries, later on down the road.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're foregoing the opportunity to kind of hop in a different career path and kind of go up from there. So, tough. That's a tough decision.
Yeah. Are you a big hockey guy?
I'm actually not, but my Michigan State Spartans hockey is actually doing pretty good this year. They went 1-1 this past weekend with Michigan, so I'm kind of getting into it.
Really?
Yeah. What about you? Are you big into hockey?
No. I've gone to a few games in person. I think, there's certain sports that I think are better in person. Hockey's one of them. Baseball is definitely one of them because I got to tell you, baseball will start boring the hell out of me. It's just way too easy to flip to another channel. Sometimes I feel like football's better at home though. I do like being in the stadium and being around that atmosphere, but then I also just like being on my couch and I get to be a maniac and the whole world doesn't have to see it.
Totally. I'm with you. I think football's tough. Do you feel like going to a baseball game, even if it's a more meaningful baseball game, I find it less stressful than just being at a football game because we have to win. In football, you generally have to win the game to kind of progress in the season.
Yeah.
Even if you're a winning team, you have home field advantage at stake. it does suck to go to a game and lose.
Yeah, no, it does. Well, let's talk about that. And I'm sure you guys will talk about it tomorrow on the Giants guys. I was disgusted that MetLife sounded like a friggin' Eagles home game.
That's what I heard. Did it look that bad? Because I saw people complain about it. Then Tom Doherty on Twitter said that, it wasn't as bad as it looked, but, what were your thoughts? Did it look that bad?
It sounded bad. I had tweeted that out and somebody said, yes, it is bad. I'm here. It's really bad. Everybody sold their tickets to Eagles fans. But I mean, who knows? It was like the whole stadium cleared out, like by half. I mean, I don't blame them. Like the traffic here sucks. Like, I don't know. I don't. Do you like when people give the criticism of like, oh, you're not a real fan if you leave early? I mean, in a game like that yesterday, it's pouring rain. You got to sit on, you got to leave, East Rutherford. It's not like an easy ride home.
Yeah, look, if your team's getting blown out, go ahead and go home. Go home, grab dinner, get home a little bit early, take care of a couple things. I'm all for that. It's there's no point in staying there any longer than you absolutely have to be. The team, I mean, we owe the team absolutely nothing beyond the fact that you already bought those tickets. You put on a good product for us. We'll stay throughout the whole game, but there's no testament against the fans if you don't stay the whole time. Additionally, I mean, when the Giants were really bad, I never had a problem with Giants fans selling tickets either, because I get it. Look, you don't want to spend $600 to take, you and your kid out and watch your team just get absolutely spanked all day, pay $20 for a hot dog, $30 for a soda. I get it. I get it. But, Eagles, I mean, the reason Eagles fans showed up is because, A, it's very easy for them to get to the stadium.
Yeah.
North Jersey, in the metro area, is much easier to get to North Jersey than it is like if the stadium was in Connecticut. Forget it. They couldn't get through. But, it's like, hey, let's go up the Turnpike. Our team is really good. It would be fun. Let's see a different stadium. I get it. I get why they do that.
But they also clinched a freaking playoff spot in our stadium. Like, that really sucked.
Yeah.
I did not want that to happen. I just wanted them to be a little bit more competitive. Oh, but such is, I guess that's it. We have to be like this team and move on, put this week behind us. We have got to look ahead to the Commanders and hope and pray that we could pull out this win. So should we take a quick peek at what next week has in store for us?
Yeah. Well, hey, real quick, we got another guest in here.
Oh, okay. All right. Who's on
Josh
now?
Kirby.
Hey, Josh, what's up?
This is some interesting sports talk I'm hearing, and I saw that link. I was like, let me pop in.
All right. Well, we're glad that you're here. Yeah, that's the point of Rush Hour. Since we all do a Giants show on Tuesday nights, we try not to make it too Giants heavy, but since Mike and I watch the almost every single game, we figure, hey, let's do a show where we talk about everything that happened in the NFL this past week. Let me look ahead to next week at some betting lines and
it
talk
was a crazy week this week, I'll say for sure.
Yeah, it was. So what was crazy for you? What was the craziest thing?
Tom Brady looking terrible.
Yeah.
That for sure. Tyreek Hill, he put on a show. I mean, just looking. I mean, the Ravens beating the Steelers with their third string quarterback. Who would have thought? But yet, Kenny Pickett got knocked out too. So that was interesting. I mean, the Jets and Mike White, apparently he had some injury issues. He came back in. Then after the game,
he got crushed in that one play.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after the game, he gets sent off via ambulance. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So it was a very weird week, in my opinion. And then the Panthers beating the Seahawks. Who would have thought that?
Yes. Well, it was good for the Giants. We needed that. We're happy.
It was good for the Commanders, too.
All right.
That's right. Well, be good. No, it's good for the Giants because we're going to win this weekend.
Yes.
Well, I mean, prime time, that's always tough. It's always more intensified. So who knows? I will say that the Eagles defeating the Giants this past week might help the Commanders a little bit in perspective of the Giants really need this win, but still. Yeah, I mean, prime time, it's going to be on the edge of our seats watching this game for sure.
Yeah, no, we definitely are. How do you think this game's going to go, Josh? So, like, really, I know the Giants don't play great in prime time. I know you're a Commanders fan, but what are your objective thoughts?
I say the Commanders take the slight edge because A, the Giants got crushed this past week. B, the Commanders are coming off a bye week, giving some key pieces on the O-line time to get healthy, set to go. I think the Commanders will take the slight edge, but heck, if there's another tie, I'm not sure what I'd do if there would be another tie.
No, I can't handle it.
What if there would be another tie on Sunday night? What's up?
I'm sorry. I said, has there ever been 2 ties in one season?
By the same team? I don't think that's ever happened, but it would be crazy if they tied again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the Giants look good against the Commanders. Nikki was on my show. Thank you again for that, Nikki. But I mean, they look good, and if the Giants can play like they did against the Commanders, and the Commanders aren't keeping their foot on the gas pedal, there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
We will take a chance.
I mean, there's a chance. Every team has a chance going in.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. Before we let you go, I want to give you the line and the over-under right now. So you guys are favored by 4.5. Over-under is 39.5.
Not bad. I mean, give or take. I don't think 39 is going to hit.
No.
I think that's definitely going to be under. But 4.5. I would say that's a good margin. I'm not sure how much that's going to shift from now until Sunday, but who knows?
Yeah. The line can move. The line can move. All right. So you think the Commanders take it on Sunday?
Yeah, I think they take the slight edge, but once again, I'm not a huge betting guy, so the lines, the overs, the unders, it's like all foreign to me still. So
oh, got it. Okay. All right. So straight up, you think the Commanders are winning on Sunday?
I say 3 to 4 points.
Okay.
All right.
3 to 4 points edge, but it can go either way because this is still a division game.
Yes. Yeah.
Division games, anything can happen. That's my outlook on it.
Very true. All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate it. I'd say good luck to you Sunday, but I can't.
We don't want you to. Yeah.
I'll be on the edge of my seat. Yeah, is Sunday night's always interesting because you have to get up for work on Monday, and it's like so bad when your team loses, but it's so good when your team wins. So,
amen. Amen. You sleep easy at night.
Yeah. Any more guests back there, or do we want to look ahead to next week?
Let's look right ahead to next week.
Let's look right ahead to next week. All right, let's do it. Well, we did talk about Giants Commanders. I would go under on that one, but why do I feel like that line's going to move?
I don't know. I mean, the Giants generally play a team like this pretty close. I don't think they have an explosive offense that can lay up the points. I mean, there's no doubt that on a good day, the Commanders should win, but I don't think they're winning by more than 4.
No, I don't think so either. I'm going to take the Giants, and I'll take the points. Yeah. All right. Now that we went out of order, let's see. Are you excited? We have Saturday games now.
Yes, which is very nice. Honestly, that's one thing that's nicer about college football is like you go to Michigan State game, it's on Saturday.
Yeah.
Way better than Sunday.
I know. Way better than Sunday. All right. So I know tonight. Oh, we did tonight, right? Did we do Patriots and Arizona? 2.5?
We did not.
Okay. 2.5. Let's see. Patriots are favored and over under is 44. I'm taking Arizona and the points.
Arizona points and then over.
Yeah, I think over. All right, let's see. Moving right along. Okay, Thursday. Ooh, San Fran and Seattle. San Fran 3.5. Over under 43.5.
After that week, San Fran.
San Fran all the way. All the way. All right, moving to Saturday games. Yay, we have the Colts and the Vikings. So Vikings are favored by 4. Over under 47.5.
Colts over.
Yep, I think so. Okay, we got Baltimore and Cleveland. Cleveland's favored by 2.5. Over under 37.5. We go under, I think, on this one.
Why do I just feel like it's going to be a game where the Browns fans are going to leave very upset? I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Ravens on that.
Yeah, we can go with the Ravens. I'm going to go under because they might have their third string quarterback. We don't know. Exactly. How about Miami and Buffalo? Buffalo's favored by 7.5. Over under is 42.
No, I don't think that's a lot of points. I'm going to go with Miami and under.
Yeah, I think you have to on that one. Moving to Sunday, we have the Eagles and the Bears. So that'll be good. We get to see Hurts and Fields together. Eagles are favored by 9, over under 48.5.
Eagles spread is what, 9?
9.
She just had to make sure I heard that right. Well, I don't know. After last week, I'd give it to them, but
give it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to them and then over.
Yeah. I know, right? I feel like you have to. How about Detroit and the Jets? Detroit is favored by 1, over under 44.5.
Let's see. Jets have, play surprise a lot of the times. I'm going to go Lions.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to go over.
I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to go over here. Okay, how about the Cowboys and Jacksonville?
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
it's
5.
What's the spread?
5.
Nah, Cowboys. They usually alternate when they slip up. So Texans, there's a good example where they did it. I don't think they do that again.
Speaking of Texans, we have Texans and Kansas City. Kansas City is favored by 14, over under 48.5.
Too many points. Too many points after last week. I'm gonna go with Houston, and I'm gonna go with the under.
Yeah,
over. I'm gonna go over.
You're gonna go over on that one. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. We got Pittsburgh and Carolina, 2.5. Carolina's the favorite.
Man, Carolina's kind of coming together there with these predictions. I'm gonna go Carolina under.
Yeah, 38.5. Falcons are back off their bye week. They're playing the Saints. Saints are favored by 4, over under 43.5. I'm gonna go.
Oh, go ahead. What are you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna go under.
Oh, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go
over.
Over. Yeah.
Going over on that one? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots and Raiders. Raiders are favored by 1, over under 44.5.
Patriots and under.
And we've got Arizona and Denver, 2.5. Arizona's favored by 2.5. I like Arizona on the points all the time.
Yeah, Arizona and then over.
Last two, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. Cincinnati is favored by 3.5.
Cincinnati.
And we have got Tennessee and the Chargers. Chargers are favored by 2.5.
Well then Chargers, because I would expect it to be a little more like a field goal. So yeah. Chargers, and then what's the over?
It is 44.
Over. We got some good.
46. It's 46.
Ooh, yeah, let's go over. Actually, it's a good offensive matchup right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Tennessee though.
It's tough. Hey, real quick, Nikki, before we all drop, I got one more question for you that somebody popped up in the chat.
Yeah.
And Giants fans are going to want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you think this contract for Daniel Jones would make sense? What are your thoughts?
3 years, $100 million off season. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. He is so hard. Daniel Jones is really hard to evaluate and stick like a monetary value on him.
Because it's still speculation. It's all we're paying him for, right? The Giants, we look and say, he did good, especially early in the season. He did good with nothing.
Yeah.
The thought is he's going to do great with greater assets. But we don't know. We've never seen it. We've never seen the whole production that we want.
Yeah.
In full circle.
The thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like you haven't seen the production. He doesn't have the talent around him. How much of that is a product of talent? How much of that is just him? Yes, of course, there's things that he can still work on. I don't know. I cannot believe 4 years later, I have to say the jury's still out.
I know the jury is still out. And the problem is the jury is out on contract years. So this question, 3 years, $100 million, that is too much. At this time, I wouldn't mind them bringing him back, but
not that much.
Can't risk it.
That's too much.
Too much on speculation.
Yeah, and we just don't know what this team's going to look like next year.
Exactly.
We won't have Kenny Golladay though. So you guys, my contest is still going on Twitter. I tweeted a picture of Kenny Golladay and I said caption this, and the best caption is going to win New York Giants Rush. If you want some merch, you want a shirt, magnet, whatever, I gotta pick a winner. We all do. I tagged the whole Rush crew, so we're gonna pick a winner, maybe 1, 2, or 3. Some of them are really good, but there's like 80 I have to go through, so I need help on this. So
Cole G, we are expecting some comedy.
Yes. Yes. Come on, Real Cold. I know you got something funny up your sleeve. All right. That's it. Rush Hour is out. We are, what was this? Episode 3, 4?
Episode 4, Rush Hour 4. And by the way, they just announced a Rush Hour 4 a couple days ago.
We're ahead of the game here.
We're ahead of the game. That's right. We should copyright the Twitter handle now.
We really should. We do need a separate Twitter handle for this. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week. Everybody enjoy Monday Night Football. And tune into the Giants, guys, tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Go Giants.
Go Giants.